Good evening. Have you ever paused to think about the quiet strength of a woman with no friends? Society often paints this as a picture of sadness or something missing. But tonight, I want to turn that image on its head. Human beings are inherently social creatures designed to thrive in communities and relationships. Connection is not merely a luxury, it's a necessity woven into the fabric of who we are. From the earliest moments of life, the bonds we form with others shape our understanding of the world and ourselves. A smile, a conversation, a helping hand, these seemingly small interactions create a web of connection that supports, nurtures, and sustains us. In our relationships, we find a sense of belonging. To feel valued and understood is one of the deepest human desires, and it is through connection that we fulfill this need. The presence of friends, family, and even casual acquaintance reinforces our sense of self-worth. These relationships remind us that we are not alone in our struggles or triumphs. When we share our joys, they are multiplied. When we share our sorrows, they are halved. This exchange is the essence of connection. Moreover, connection fosters growth. It challenges us to step beyond the confines of our own perspectives and consider the experiences of others. Through meaningful relationships, we are exposed to new ideas, different viewpoints, and unique ways of navigating life. A single conversation with a trusted friend can ignite a fresh insight or help us see a problem from a completely new angle. This dynamic exchange is what drives personal and emotional growth. At its core, connection is also a source of strength. In times of adversity, it is the people we lean on who give us the courage to persevere. They offer a listening ear, words of encouragement, or simply their presence when we need it most. This support is invaluable, serving as a reminder that we don't have to face life's challenges alone. In fact, research consistently shows that strong social bonds contribute to better mental health, increased resilience, and even physical well-being. However, connection is not just about receiving, it's equally about giving. Relationships thrive on reciprocity, and the act of supporting others is just as fulfilling as being supported. When we invest in others, whether by offering our time, attention, or empathy, we create bonds that are rooted in trust and mutual respect. This giving strengthens the connection, making it more enduring and meaningful. Even in fleeting interactions, connection has the power to transform. A kind word to a stranger or a shared laugh with a colleague can leave an indelible mark. These moments remind us of the humanity that binds us all, bridging gaps of culture, background, and experience. In today's fast-paced world, where digital interactions often overshadow face-to-face encounters, the value of genuine connection becomes even more apparent. It's not the number of likes or followers that matters, but the quality of the relationships we cultivate. True connection demands presence, attention, and vulnerability. It requires us to be open to others and to the shared experiences that bring meaning to our lives. Connection, then, is the lifeblood of human existence. Solitude is often misunderstood. For many, it evokes feelings of loneliness or isolation, a state to be avoided at all costs. Yet solitude, when embraced intentionally, holds profound power. It offers a sanctuary where the mind can quiet the noise of the outside world, creating a space for self-reflection and growth. In this stillness, a person can confront their thoughts, emotions, and aspirations without the distractions of external influences. In solitude, there is an opportunity to discover who we truly are. Away from the expectations and judgments of others, we can strip away the layers of societal conditioning and focus on our authentic selves. This process of introspection allows us to identify what truly matters, what brings us joy, and what drains our energy. It is here, in this private space, that clarity begins to emerge. The ability to sit with one's own company is a sign of inner strength, for it requires facing our vulnerabilities and fears head on. Solitude also fosters creativity. Some of the most innovative ideas and breakthroughs come from moments of quiet reflection. Without the pressure to conform to groupthink or the distractions of constant communication, the mind is free to wander and explore new possibilities. So, great thinkers, writers, and artists have often sought solitude as a wellspring of inspiration. It is in these moments of isolation that the imagination can flourish, always unbound the constraints of external validation. Moreover, solitude builds resilience. In the absence of others to lean on, we learn to rely on ourselves. This self-reliance is not about rejecting help, but about recognizing our own capacity to handle challenges. The ability to face difficulties alone cultivates a deep sense of confidence and independence. It teaches us that while support from others is valuable, we are capable of standing strong on our own. In solitude, we also find the gift of mindfulness. Without the rush of external demands, we can fully immerse ourselves in the present moment. Whether it's listening to the sound of the wind, feeling the warmth of the sun on our skin, or simply breathing deeply, solitude allows us to reconnect with the world around us in a profound and meaningful way. This mindful awareness not only brings peace, but also helps us to appreciate life's simple, often overlooked pleasures. While the external world is filled with noise and activity, solitude provides the quiet necessary for self-renewal. It is a space where we can recharge our energy and reflect on our goals. Far from being a state of emptiness, it becomes a wellspring of strength, offering the time and space to realign with our purpose. In solitude, we learn to listen to our inner voice, a voice that can guide us with wisdom and clarity when the world feels overwhelming. The ability to embrace solitude is not about rejecting connection, but about balancing it. It is about recognizing that the relationship we have with ourselves is the foundation upon which all other relationships are built. Through solitude, we cultivate the inner strength to face life's challenges and emerge not just whole, but empowered. Society often presents a picture of what life should look like, a carefully curated image of success, happiness, and fulfillment. It is a narrative shaped by cultural norms, media portrayals, and long-standing traditions that set expectations for how individuals, particularly women, should live their lives. These societal standards create an illusion that there is one ideal way to be, one prescribed path to follow that promises happiness, validation, and acceptance. But the reality is far more complex, and what society expects often stands in stark contrast to what individuals experience. The pressure to conform to these expectations can be overwhelming. For women, the images we see in magazines, movies, and even on social media present an ideal of beauty, success, and happiness that is often unattainable and unrealistic. Society tells women they must balance a perfect career, a fulfilling family life, and maintain an impeccable appearance, all while remaining kind, nurturing, and selfless. The reality, however, is that no one can do it all, and trying to meet these expectations can lead to exhaustion, stress, and a sense of inadequacy. This disconnect between expectation and reality becomes even more pronounced when we consider the pressure to be constantly social and surrounded by friends. Popular culture suggests that a woman without friends or one who is not socially engaged is somehow incomplete. Yet the reality is that many women face periods of loneliness, isolation, or disconnection, not because they are flawed, but because life does not always follow the scripted narrative that society provides. Relationships can be complicated, and finding true, lasting friendships often takes time and effort. Not every woman's journey involves a large social circle or constant socializing, but that does not mean her life is lacking. The expectation that women must fit a certain mold extends beyond social circles to career and family life. Society places immense value on success defined by external markers, promotions, accolades, marriage, children, and financial security. Yet, many women find that their reality doesn't align with these measures of success. They may prioritize personal growth, creative endeavors, or relationships over traditional milestones. Or they may face challenges in areas where society's expectations don't account for individual circumstances. Moreover, the internal struggle that comes with trying to live up to these societal expectations often goes unnoticed. Women are expected to manage their lives with grace and composure, but behind the scenes, many are grappling with doubt, insecurity, and the constant pressure to live up to an ideal that feels increasingly distant. The reality of juggling various roles and responsibilities, often with little recognition or support, can feel overwhelming. In contrast, the reality of self-acceptance and embracing one's own path is far more liberating. It's about recognizing that the standards set by society are not universally applicable, and that each individual's journey is uniquely their own. The reality is that everyone faces setbacks, struggles, and moments of uncertainty, no matter how polished the external image may appear. Embracing this truth allows for the freedom to redefine success on one's own terms without succumbing to the unrealistic expectations that society imposes. The disconnect between society's expectations and personal reality is not something that can be easily overcome, but it is through this awareness that individuals begin to reclaim their own narrative. By recognizing that expectations do not define worth, individuals can begin to let go of the societal pressure to form and instead live a life that aligns with their true desires and values. Self-friendship is a concept that has gained increasing importance in recent years. yet it remains one of the most overlooked and undervalued aspects of personal well-being. The idea of being one's own friend might sound simple, but in practice, it requires deep introspection, self-compassion, and a commitment to understanding oneself on a profound level. At its core, self-friendship is about forming a supportive, loving, and honest relationship with yourself, one that encourages growth, nurtures your emotional needs, and stands strong through life's challenges. When we think of friendship, we often imagine someone who listens, comforts, encourages, and celebrates with us. These are qualities we seek from others, yet we rarely offer them to ourselves. In moments of difficulty, we may be quick to criticize or judge ourselves harshly, forgetting that we deserve the same kindness and understanding we would offer a close friend. Self-friendship, however, teaches us to change that narrative. It challenges us to stop being our own harshest critic and to start being our most compassionate ally. It's about accepting imperfections and embracing the journey of self-improvement without the pressure of perfection. The beauty of self-friendship lies in the way it fosters self-awareness. By becoming our own best friend, we learn to truly listen to our own thoughts, desires, and emotions. This level of awareness can illuminate areas of life that may have been neglected or overlooked. Self-friendship encourages us to check in with ourselves, regularly asking how we're really feeling, what we need, and what might be blocking our growth. It creates a safe space where we can be vulnerable and honest with ourselves without fear of judgment. This allows us to recognize our strengths and weaknesses, giving us the clarity to make informed decisions that align with our values and desires. When we become our own friend, we also cultivate a sense of independence and resilience. In times of adversity, we can rely on ourselves for comfort and support, which builds confidence and emotional strength. While friendships with others are invaluable, they are not always available when we need them most. In these moments, self-friendship serves as a solid foundation, ensuring that we don't lose sight of our worth or ability to cope. It allows us to stand firm, knowing that we have the tools within ourselves to navigate life's challenges. Moreover, self-friendship enhances our overall well-being. Studies have shown that people who practice self-compassion experience lower levels of stress and anxiety, are more resilient to setbacks, and maintain better mental health. When we treat ourselves with kindness and patience, we reduce the negative impact of self-doubt and guilt, allowing us to move forward in a more balanced and peaceful state of mind. Self-friendship also promotes personal growth. A true friend encourages you to be your best self, to step outside your comfort zone, and to pursue your passions. In the same way, being your own friend means taking the time to invest in yourself, setting goals, learning new things, and pushing yourself to evolve. It's not about complacency or settling for mediocrity, but about empowering yourself to continually improve. Just as a close friend would cheer you on, self-friendship involves being your own greatest supporter, applauding every achievement, no matter how small, and motivating yourself through setbacks. In essence, the power of self-friendship is immeasurable. It offers a sense of security, resilience, and joy that comes from within. By cultivating a loving and honest relationship with ourselves, we can weather the storms of life with greater ease, find fulfillment in our own company, and ultimately become the person we've always needed. Isolation can be a heavy burden, often experienced silently, with its weight becoming increasingly difficult to bear over time. It's a cycle that many find themselves trapped in, whether due to personal circumstances, external factors, or simply a fear of vulnerability. Breaking free from this cycle is not easy, but it is entirely possible. It requires a willingness to acknowledge the pain of isolation, a commitment to change, and the courage to take the first step toward connection. The isolation cycle often begins with a small distance, an event, or decision that creates space between an individual and others. Over time, this gap widens, not necessarily by choice, but because of the growing comfort in solitude or the increasing fear of rejection. While solitude can be nourishing, providing space for reflection and self-discovery, prolonged isolation can take a toll on mental and emotional health. It can lead to feelings of sadness, anxiety, or a sense of disconnection from the world. What often starts as a temporary retreat can turn into an unbreakable pattern, where the fear of reaching out or opening up becomes more intense than the desire for connection. Breaking the cycle of isolation requires a conscious effort to challenge the stories we tell ourselves. We often convince ourselves that no one understands us or that reaching out will only lead to rejection. These thoughts can create an internal barrier that keeps us from even attempting to rebuild our social connections. But the truth is, isolation feeds on these self-limiting beliefs. The longer we remain in this cycle, the stronger these negative thoughts become, convincing us that we are unworthy of companionship or incapable of forming meaningful relationships. Recognizing this is the first step in breaking free. It requires an honest look at the narratives we've created about ourselves and the courage to rewrite them. The next step is to take action, even when it feels uncomfortable. Breaking the isolation cycle isn't about making drastic changes overnight, but about taking small, manageable steps toward connection. Reaching out to a friend, joining a group, or even initiating a conversation with a stranger can begin to shift the dynamic. It's about re-entering the world with openness and a willingness to be vulnerable. Vulnerability is key here, as it's often the fear of being hurt or judged that keeps us isolated. But vulnerability is also the gateway to authentic connection. It's only when we let our guard down that we allow others to see the real us, creating space for real relationships to form. Creating a routine of social interaction is also important in breaking the isolation cycle. It's easy to fall back into old habits of withdrawing when life gets busy or when we feel overwhelmed. But making time for social connections, whether through regular phone calls, attending events, or engaging in community activities, can help counteract the temptation to retreat. By prioritizing these connections, we begin to establish new patterns of engagement that replace the old habit of isolation. Another crucial aspect of breaking the isolation cycle is learning to seek support when needed. Often, Those trapped in isolation feel they must handle everything on their own, but this only perpetuates the cycle. Reaching out for professional help or confiding in a trusted friend or family member can offer a new perspective and help guide the process of reconnecting. Support is not a sign of weakness, but an acknowledgement that we are not meant to go through life alone. Having someone to talk to can make the difference between remaining isolated and finding the courage to reconnect with the world. Breaking the isolation cycle is a journey that requires patience and persistence. It's about acknowledging that while isolation can feel safe, it is ultimately unfulfilling. By taking intentional steps to step outside of our comfort zones and challenge the fears that hold us back, we can create meaningful connections that enrich our lives.